In 1911, Jan Toorop got the assignment to make a design for a huge stained glass window in the east transept of Titus Brandsma Memorial Church at the Keizer Karelplein, square of Emperor Charles, in Nijmegen. Before 2004, this used to be called St. Joseph Church. Jan Toorop was born in Purworejo on Java, Indonesia, in 1858 and died in The Hague in 1928. Jan Toorop was not only a painter, draftsman, etcher and lithographer, but also a designer of tile panels, stamps, book covers and stained glass windows. In 1905, Toorop, who was a Protestant by birth, chose for Catholicism, and from that year he preferred to depict religious themes in a refined style which made him so well known, particularly in Catholic circles. Traces of all styles and movements that were dominant in the visual arts of the end of the 19th century, such as Impressionism, Neo-Impressionism, Symbolism and Jugendstil or Art Nouveau, are present in Jan Toorop's art. In the autumn of 1908, Toorop moved to Nijmegen, and there he made numerous religious friends, notably amongst Jesuits. He portrayed a number of them in these years. His first religious works consist of a great number of apostle drawings. They are depicted with a rough and peasant-like physique, hitherto unseen and causing quite a stir with his religious and middle-class friends of those days. It is highly probable that because of these portraits and apostle drawings, he was given the assignment in 1911 to make a design for the large stained glass window in the Titus Brandsma Memorial Church. From 1912 till 1915, Toorop was busy with the apostle window. Work processed slowly, and in the spring of 1915 it was finally placed. As far as style goes, Toorop wanted to move away from the manufactured neo-Gothic windows with their pious, brightly colored depiction. The window consists of two parts. The upper is a rosette window or tondo. There we see Christ on a throne flanked by two tondi with angels. Beneath that are 6 narrow vertical windows with the 12 apostles, 2 by 2. The rosette window shows the Lord after his ascension. The Christ figure is surrounded by a 12-fold glory in rainbow colors. In the small tondi, two genuflexing angels turn towards the resurrected Lord. For the left angel, Toorop used as a model his friend and admirer, the poetess Miek Jansen from Oosterbeek. The drawing of Christ that Toorop made in 1912, just like the stained glass window of his face, clearly shows similarities with the stained glass trial window. The depiction of Christ's face was a creative struggle for Toorop. For the drawing of Christ, the lawyer Charles Rijmakers served as a model. He was a teacher of political science at the Canisius College in Nijmegen. Toorop considered it to be the deepest he had ever made. The portrait confessed to the artist, "The ideal of my soul is in it." Miek Jansen wrote to him, "What a spiritualized face your friend Rijmakers has. And his eyes, those are apostle eyes." But to Toorop himself, Rijmakers was more than an apostle. He literally saw in him an alter Christus, someone who physically impersonated the person of Christ. About his struggle with the drawing of the face of Christ, Toorop wrote, "Christ is difficult. I had to do over the church window in Nijmegen 3 times, with the first expression too stern, then too sweet. But who paints Christ? With portrait drawings, I sometimes have the feeling that I'm under the guillotine, the sword on my neck. I'm forced then to look as clear as is psychologically possible. Often it seems then that my whole imagination goes down the drain. But I persevere in keeping everything away from me, only to pierce through the psyche of the one I'm to depict, so that nothing stays hidden for me. I have the feeling that I must do this, because God wants it, and I do so in His behalf only. That I try to depict the beauteous form and depth of the soul as true as possible." Miek Jansen said that Toorop liked to begin by drawing the eyes, the focal point of the soul. Then Toorop drew the face, the hair, and a part of the shoulders. On the 6 vertical windows under the tondo of Christ are the 12 apostles, placed behind each other with a mention of their names at the bottom. The upper name is the front apostle. They look up towards Christ. In their gaze, Toorop has managed to express their desire for and their trust in their Lord. The apostles are all depicted with attributes of their office and their martyrdom in their hands. Simon with a saw, and Bartholomew with a flensing knife. Matthew is depicted with an axe, and behind him Thomas with a spear. John is depicted with the book. However, the apostle Andrew is not depicted with the cross. Peter is depicted with a key, and Philip with a large procession cross. James the Great with his staff and jug, and James the Less with a mace. The apostle Matthias is depicted with a stone, and Jude with a club or halberd. A number of preliminary sketches for the windows have been saved. Thomas Kwakman, a chaplain from Amsterdam, modelled for the Apostle Matthew, and Engelbart Robben from Ulft served as a model for Peter. Standing behind Matthias is Jude, for whom Toorop took himself as a model. Excepting John, all models have worn and weathered faces. Toorop's typography of the apostles' names is worth mentioning. Particularly in the longer names like Bartholomew, the constructivist division of the typography of those days is clearly visible. The Apostle window in the Titus Brandsma Memorial Church is typical of the austere and geometric style of Toorop. It shows his giftedness as a draftsman and graphic artist. Because of its place between Jugendstil or Art Nouveau and Expressionism, this window is testimony of the modern glazier art. Toorop covered new ground with this assignment and was inspired by the monumental work of other glaziers. His sharp observation skills and his gift to characterize his models, eyes, hands and feet in particular, made him into a great portrait artist. Sadly enough, things did not go beyond this one glazier's assignment. Whether it was because it took Toorop 3 years to complete the window, or the church council found the result too modern, the assignment for a second window opposite the apostle window in the west transept of the church did not go to him, but to the glazier Wilhelm Dericks. But because of that, as the only church in the Netherlands, the Titus Brandsma Memorial Church does possess, and has done so for over a century, a unique stained glass window by Jan Toorop.